Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Mia for her 7th interview in the Year of Growth series. Welcome, Mia.
I'm so glad to be here, Cassie. Thank you.
You are welcome. I am so excited to talk to you today. So much fun stuff has been going on. But first, tell us, how has your future self been showing up?
Just incredible. In the present moment always, and able to feel what's going on and what is going to be happening. It just feels so great to just be present. It makes all the difference.
Oh, that's awesome. And what awesome things are happening because of that?
Trading is going well. We were talking a little bit beforehand. To this date in my regular equity account, I've done 25 options trades, and 24 out of the 25 have been profitable. And anybody who really trades options knows that, well, that one trade could have knocked you out, but it didn't. Mostly my trades go off. The average was just a hair under 5%, and my one loss was 6%. So it wasn't one of those killer, this is going to ruin all the rest of your trading kind of losses. It was just a regular loss. So I can't be happier. And people, I do work with a mentor group in options, and I've talked to a few people who sat in on my sessions recently and just going like, so Mia, what's your secret? It's like, if I could just block that profit and loss column out for a while and look at other numbers that matter to me, then I don't freak out and I don't do anything that I shouldn't be doing too quickly. So it's the patience thing again coming back in. You need to know not in too much trouble, so you can let these things evolve, because all options have an expiration to them. So there is a time factor, but if the time factor is not coming in and a lot of other things are in line, that profit and loss column can move all around and you can still be in very good shape. But it's a hard thing to do. It's one of the things that I wasn't doing. So I've been involved in options tradings for at least 2 years before I started the In-Channel Circle. Mm-hmm. And I have my ups and downs. It's the old rule, don't lose any more than you make. But I was in that thing where I was losing almost as much as I was making. And it's taken till this year, probably a good 6 months of working in the Enchanted Circle, where now almost all the trades are profitable because I have a completely different mindset than I had. Completely different mindset. So, and just having the courage to not only trade in a retirement account as I had been doing, but to open with my own money, that is bread and butter stuff, an account, that was another big step for me. And it's just been so awesome. But it's happened over the period of a little bit more than a year that I've been in the Enchanted Circle now. And it just was so natural. Things fell into place, without forcing. And again, that's about that whole presence thing, because when you're in the future, wondering what the future is going to be like a little too much in a worried way, that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. That is so awesome to hear. As I think at the time of our last interview, you were even just we were talking, I don't think we talked about it in the interview, but after we talked about snow angels and really we called it snow angels, but it was really comfortable with this increased amount of money in your checking account. And I know in the last interview, we had talked about how part of what you're doing in the Enchanted Circle was breaking your own ceiling of how much money you allowed in your checking account and in your total things. And
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that and how you made the switch. Cause like you said, it was, trading the options in your retirement accounts and then even in your personal accounts.
Right. So, It was a sort of thing I had noticed. One of the exercises that we do for Manifest 10K is to go through everything, make room for good stuff to come in. So I realized I had a lot of paperwork from the past year because I've had a business of my own. Mm-hmm. And I've kept, all the banking statements. I can't believe how we used to reconcile checking accounts. But I noticed in looking at these, as I, put them in the be shredded pile, my personal checking account was always in this range, somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000, which very comfortable range. More money than my family than I was used to having growing up. You got this nice cushion, never got close to zero even, but never getting above that either. There was always, the business needs a little bit more money, or, oh my God, estimated taxes are due, or something would come up. So I'd always be in that range. And once I started to start the process of getting out of the business that I was in, money started to come in, lots of money, big chunks of money that I wasn't used to. And you told me, you said, well, Mia, how often do you look at your accounts, to see how much money you have? And I said, well, once a day, maybe sometimes, just times that by 10, just times it by 10, however many times you're used to doing it, do it a lot more often. Just look at it, see what's going on. And so I did that. And in addition to that, I had a financial, since I came into so much money, a financial advisor come and, or actually call me and talk to me. And he's really turned out to be a really good guy, but he basically kind of has thrown up his hands because, he calls in all of his people that are way above him that are expert traders, to come and talk to me about this and that and the other thing. He says, you know way more than I can help you with. If you want to open another account or something and you're running into a little red tape, give me a call. But otherwise, I can't help you. And it's very true. He's a good guy. And everything that he did was, he just went to the very top. If he didn't have an answer, he went to the very top. And, all of that was happening at the same time. And it just kept building, Mia, you got this. You got this. You don't need to ask anybody. Talk to anybody. It's not like you don't listen to anybody's advice or whatever, but you got this. You got it. Because that's what I started hearing from everybody. You got this, Yeah, you're not going to, you need to, just keep going. You're doing great. So, it's like, you can't not believe that when it just keeps happening. Well, you can, but I'm out of that mode right now. I believe it, so.
That's awesome. So a combination of getting used to that more money and allowing yourself to hear other people say, I'm an expert, but you're just as much of your own expert and you can handle this. All kind of open the space to seeing yourself as even more of a financial wizard, right?
That's right. And so, I do keep track. I mostly do indexes that I trade options in. So I'm looking at the S&P 500. I'm looking at the Russell 2000. Those are the main two things. So I keep up with a lot of technical stuff that's going on in the market and how all of these news things, everything's going on with trade affects the market. And I've really found that to be helpful. I know you're kind of interested in math. What's been interesting to me is some of these technical analyses that look at stuff, and it's amazing how much you can break stuff down. They do a thing that's called Fibonacci retracements. And basically, you go to a certain level, and then there's these things based on a calculation for how far up it could go from there, where the likely stop points are, where the support and resistance. And things like that are very close, but you have to, it's simple but not easy sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it's really fun. It seems like I can spend just the right amount of time that I'm not, when I first got involved with options trading, I spent so much time trying to understand what was going on with the market, with everything that goes on with options. And now it's to a point where I can do somewhere between a half hour to 3 hours, worth of reading and research a day on this stuff and be in the market, looking closely at the market for that long. And I kind of got a feel for it. It's not a 24/7 thing. It's not I'm actually like starting to scratch my head and go, okay, now there's going to be something else because I have this fitting in here and I'm having so much fun with it, but I can only I won't be able to just do this. There's so much more time left. And it's like, wow, okay, and it's so fun. It's really fun for me. It's just so fun. So
that's awesome. So you're going to have to find more fun to put in your life. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to say. It's great. And it's, I talked about it on here before when we were doing our interview. It's like Snow Angels was also about, well, I'm kind of just waiting to see what's next. You see kids, if you ever go shopping in a supermarket and they just get so bored sometimes, they get on the floor and they're just like doing Snow Angels, it's just like, oh yeah, that's what shopping is to a kid, and I felt that way, but stuff does come along. Just like when you're a kid, stuff comes along that gets you really interested. So I know that's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And it just feels really, really good.
Yay. I love it. You had said something in a call a while ago, and I love it because I always say when you change your money story, everything changes because money and life are related. Everything else, not even the things that money doesn't touch, but it's who we're being with money we are in other situations. And you said, life used to be good 50 to 80% of the time. Now it's good 95 to 100% all the time. And you just had to take some time and get comfortable with everything being good all the time. Will you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's, I can be a perfectionist and I can make things harder than they need to be. And that's one of the things that I've noticed a lot is even just with simple everyday things, it's like, oh, I could do this easier. I could make this, just a very easy thing to do. You just heard me with the options trading, I used to think, God, I have to spend 24/7. I have to be right with the market all the time and, be ready to make an adjustment and all this, sort of be just nervous and oh my God. And you know what? You don't. It can really, things will come to you. Yes. Doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing, but you don't have to be hyper vigilant and perfectionist all the time. Stuff can be easy and very, very good all the time. Somebody said something in one of the Enchanted Circles calls that really hit me. Lainey said, now I don't ask why is this happening to me? I ask why this is happening for me. And it's so true. I had this very super lucky trade last week that really, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. But that was it, instead of when what looked like bad news was coming to me, instead of I saying, why is this happening to me? It's like, what is going to come from this? It's going to be fun. I might, worst thing, I might lose a little money and who knows where it's going to go, and it just turned out awesome, and even if I had a loss, there would have been a cool little lesson from it that I could have taken with me. And I'm sure we'll learn quite a bit from it, So yeah, everything's so good.
That's awesome. I love that you said, and this is the key. And I think this is hard. It's not hard to teach people, but it's because you have to become it. But what you said is like, even if there was a loss, right? And I want to talk a little bit more about that trade, but you're like, even if there's a loss, there's a lesson. Even if I lose a little bit, that's okay. I'm in it for the long game. And those are the thoughts of the person who it's happening and has a lot of money, right? Because it's like, yeah, I'm going to learn. It's okay. Like it's all working out. And so it's just one of the biggest ways I want to highlight for our listeners that when you become the person, that's an example of thinking different and being a different person, is that you're literally like, oh, it's going to be okay. There's not this freak out, worry, panic, all these things, like you said, projecting into the future. And that's the magic that allows more money to come, because there is no other option but for it to be good. And so it almost always defaults to more money because the only option is good, and often money follows that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's kind of what I said earlier. When you have a lot of money, and when you're making some big bets, my average trade is around 10,000 or a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to get used to seeing that trade be down. Maybe I'm trying to make about $500 or so off of that trade within a week, but you have to be used to that being down $1,500. $2,000. And if everything else is looking okay and your gut says it's okay, you got to be ready to be okay with that. And most people aren't, but that's one of the things that definitely comes. And it's analogous to other things. It's about money right here, but you have to be used to setbacks, because you're going to get sprung right into the future. That's going to be really something really good is going to come from it. So really, really awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Will you talk a little bit? We've touched on that, that trade, but talk about trades and trust and how that all plays into it. Maybe even if you want to tell a little bit of the story from last week, because I love it, because you thought you'd taken care of something, or you thought you'd set it up to be the way you wanted it, and it changed. It was still awesome.
Yeah. On my computer, I have a very nice platform for trading. It shows graphs and all kinds of stuff, and you can break your trades up. I mean, it's beautiful. But when I leave my computer, I'm on an app that's on the phone, which has a lot of functionality, but only a fraction. You can only do so much. So I had a meeting last Wednesday with a client, and it was kind of 11:30, which is about an hour and a half before the market closes out here on the West Coast. And it was the day of the Federal Open Market Committee, deciding how much they're going to, drop interest rates and all that sort of stuff. So it could have been very volatile. I had a few trades on. One of them was close. So I put an adjustment in with a very low price, $100 less than it would cost to buy this, so that if I needed to make adjustment, I could do it on my phone. I just go in and I change the price. Boom, I got the adjustment. So I've looked at it. I've got it set up in my phone. Go off to my meeting. Sitting there with my client. We're tasting wines, having lovely, good wines. Happy. Bing, my phone goes off. Well, there's good news, because another trade had gone off for my profit. I'm thinking, yes, and actually it was the one I thought I might need to adjust. I'm thinking, great, this is so awesome, Boom, my phone goes off again. I look at my phone real quick. Look, it actually came down to the price that I had the adjusting trade set to. I just got into a trade I didn't want to get into. Can't do anything about it now. I'm sitting right here, present with my client. We're tasting wine. Everything's fine. So we end the tasting. We've got a little bit of time before we have another meeting in the vineyard. He's a great photographer, so he wants to show me his beautiful pictures of Bryce Canyon that he took, so we do that. Then we head down to the vineyard. I see I have a little bit of time, so I just gotta look to see what's going on with the trade. The thing I thought is, well, this is going to be interesting. We'll see how it turns out. I might lose a little money, but I can't lose a lot because it came in at such a low price. So we'll see what happens. And so I just look at it, on the phone, and it's like, wow, I haven't lost any money. I've actually made a little money. So quickly, I put in on my phone the opposite order in 2 accounts. They clear. I need to go off to my vineyard meeting. I'm not sure. I know I'm a little profitable. I don't know how much. Vineyard meeting goes great. Come home, get on the computer. I can actually see what I've made on that one trade. On that one trade, I made $1,240.
Woohoo!
Over 25%. It basically in less than an hour. And it was only because the market went way up and way down. By the next day, that trade was losing money. You know what I mean? So It was all about timing. It wasn't intentional. In fact, it was a little bit of a mistake, but I didn't kick myself for it. And I also didn't excuse myself from a wonderful meeting that I was having with one of my favorite clients. I just said, this is what it's going to be, and let's see what happens. And it turns out I had a little time, and it turns out, things went not my way to get me into that trade. And then they went my way to get me profitable in that trade. And I was there for the proper timing, because by the next day it wouldn't have been profitable. So, I mean, there's no way the only thing I had control over was my own reaction to it, and that was the thing. And just, why is this happening for me? We're going to see, it's either going to be a lesson or, a nice little lesson that I'll take something from, or, it's going to turn out well, or it could be neutral too. I might have been able to get out of it. That was my thinking. It's like, I wonder if I could get out of this trade from what I paid for it, right now. And, it turned out to be way better than that. So, that was just awesome. And I've said it before on the interviews. One of my favorite little things to remind myself is I'm grateful I'm so well taken care of. The universe definitely does take care of you. It wants to take care of you, so it's always been that way. The more you believe, the more it's that way,
I love it. And that's a perfect opening to nothing is sticky. And you had a couple of experiences, both you got to experience personally, but you got to see it in a sports setting, that nothing is sticky. And I love it. So you tell us the stories of being at the WNBA All-Star Game events.
Yeah, it was so great. Number one, I was there with my older sister, who we were pretty close when we were growing up. She's 10 years older than I am. And there's sticky stuff there because we haven't spent a lot of time together. It's not a bad relationship. It just could be better. But we went, and WNBA All-Star thing, and it's great. Cassie, you told me on a call, just be your present self and let your sister be her present self. Don't go in the past. Don't dig up old stuff. And it worked out very well. And then in the actual skills contest before the game, they have both a 3-point shooting contest, and they have a skills contest that you have to dribble around things, do a pass, and then make a 3-point shot, so you're dribbling around. So it's like 1 against 1, and then, you work your way up and you get to the championship. Everybody who won both contests, Diamond DeShields, who won the skills, and Kina Strickland, who won the 3-point, they missed their first shots. They weren't doing well in the beginning. And it's like, oh God, or they missed a pass, or they ran into a thing when they were dribbling the ball, but they came back and they won, so that part of that performance that wasn't perfect when the other player, their opponent was going perfectly, wasn't perfect, but they just kept going, and it turned out in their favor in the end. And then the woman who won the most valuable player, great woman, she was just on fire, hit like 6 out of 7 of her first 3-point shots. I mean, just incredible. And was driving to the basket during the game. And All-Star game, you're not in there a lot of the time, because everybody's there getting players in there. So when she was there, she was on. And then she hit the 3-pointer that probably won it for the Las Vegas side or the West side. She was just awesome. And she got the most valuable player, Erica Wheeler. I'd say she probably is as tall as me, maybe 5'6", So she's this little guard, killer. And, she tells this story of being undrafted in the WNBA draft. She wasn't drafted out of college. She had to come try out for the team, make the team. She didn't get drafted because I don't think she played her senior year in college because her mother passed away from cancer. I mean, so here's somebody who believed, didn't let anything stick to her that she didn't need. I'm sure everybody on the court. All the players were crying. The woman that was interviewing her was crying. We were all like, because her story was just so incredible. And nothing needs to be sticky, it's, you just keep moving. You get lessons. You need to have feelings. You definitely need to. You can't. If your mother passes away, you can't. Not grieve that. But you can go on with life. You can, if nobody drafts you, no team drafts you in the WNBA, you can still go on. You can still prove your worth. You can still be you, which is just exactly what she was doing. She was just so awesome.
That is awesome. I love all those stories that you brought back, and that you got to see it play out on the court in a couple different ways, as well as, in your own relationship right next to you with your sister, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. From her side, she's always been a picky eater. We'll just say it. She's been a picky eater. She doesn't eat a lot of different stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And my partner, Tracy, and I, we're like, we go out, we like places. And one of our favorite places is a Spanish tapas place called Jaleo in Vegas. And we took her there and she tried everything, liked everything. She was just, so it wasn't about me saying, oh, no, don't try that. Or she's probably not going to try this, Tracy, or she's not going to like that dish, Tracy. Just let it be. And she tried everything. She liked a lot of things, and it was awesome. It was great. Just that freedom. It's not like she became this gourmet overnight, but she opened up a bit, and that was awesome. Just awesome.
That is awesome. It's fantastic. I love it. So, any advice or final thoughts that you would give to someone listening to this interview?
Yeah, I mean, definitely trust and opening up. So, letting the good stuff in, that's something that Cassie works with us a lot on, is just make enough room so the good stuff can come in. If there's room for the good stuff to come in, it's going to find you. And you have to know that whatever looks like a setback is really a jumping off point for your next level up. And it's happened to me personally, and I've seen it happen to so many people in the Enchanted Circle. I mean, it's one of the reasons that the calls are so valuable. It's not like I have questions and stuff every week, but the stuff that everybody else brings, it clicks with you. Even if you didn't have that question or that issue, then you go, oh, wow, that's kind of something. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. I can see. And so it really is just so reinforcing. And that is one of the things that opens the door up a little bit to let the good stuff come. We talked about it before. I trained Aikido for a long time. And the whole thing there is, you need to invite the attack so that you can do what you want. If you don't just wait for somebody to attack you, you open the door, you offer something. So you already start to take control just by doing that. And I think it's another good metaphor.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That is, make room for the good stuff. That's amazing. Yeah. It's so important. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been such an amazing interview. Thank you for sharing all these awesome stories with us, and just showing how important trust is and what happens when you get into those bigger areas where you have to trust. It's so valuable for everyone listening. And I love hearing the stories and all the growth that you've had. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Cassie.
Awesome. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out Mia's next interview in the Year of Growth series.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn the step-by-step process to welcome more money into your life, go to manifest10k.com.